Hi, my name is Mrs. Light, and I'm going to talk about converting units for customary units as well as units within time. And the strategy we're going to go ahead and use today is called the Magic 1. Some of you have a handout that goes ahead and walks through the notes for this unit, and there's going to be a box with Magic 1 in it. If you do not, you're just going to go ahead and write on your notes the definition for Magic 1. So, the strategy we're going to be using to converting units is called Magic 1. Magic 1 is the conversion factor of 2 units. It's what we've memorized in the sheet that you've gotten of all the different units that you take, like how many inches are in a foot and how many cups are in a gallon, how many days are in a year, how many minutes are in an hour. So those units that you have to have memorized are called the conversion factor. And it's pretty much the Magic 1 is the conversion factor of those 2 units. The order of the units, what goes on the numerator and what goes in the denominator, depends on what you're trying to find. So, if at any point during this video you need to go ahead and stop, simply just touch the space bar to go ahead and copy down this definition. So, you're going to go ahead and copy down this definition in the box on your study, the note guide that you received. And if you didn't get a note guide, you're going to simply write this down on the piece of paper that you have. So where it says Magic 1, you're going to write down is the conversion factor of 2 units. The order of the units depends on what you are trying to find. If you need more time to write this down, please hit the space bar. Check with the people sitting around you. If they need more time, please press the space bar for them. Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and move on and start using the Magic 1. So if I want to go ahead and figure out 12 inches equals how many feet? All right, now this is one of the conversion factors that you should have memorized. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you how to go ahead and use this conversion factor for a basic unit conversion within length that you already know. So the first thing you do in your units is to go ahead and write down what they've given you in the problem. And in this problem, they've given you 12 inches. So I've simply written down 12 inches. And then I've multiplied that by the Magic 1. So I wrote a big 1 there, and we're going to equal 12 inches times something in the Magic 1 is going to equal how many feet are in 12 inches. So the first thing I'm going to have to go ahead and do is I'm going to have to complete my Magic 1. And in completing my Magic 1, I need to think about what do I know about how many inches are already in a foot. And I know that there are 12 inches in a foot. So when I go ahead and I make my fraction within my Magic 1, what I need to go ahead and do is I need to think, all right, I know that there's 12 inches in a foot. And we have to think back to what we knew about multiplying fractions and canceling out. So if inches is in the numerator, I would need to put inches in the denominator in order for inches to cancel out and be left with feet. So if I were to take my 12 inches and put it over 1, 12 inches is in the numerator and 1 is in the denominator. Because inches are in the numerator here, I need to put it in the denominator here. So I'm going to write my 12 inches. And I know that 1 foot is in then the numerator. So inches and inches cancel out. 12 and 12 cancel out. So I'm left with 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. 1 over 1, and I'm actually with the feet up here, is 1 foot. So the answer to my problem is 12 inches equals 1 foot. All right? And I use that using the Magic 1. We're going to go ahead and try another problem. So my new problem is, let's say I want to know $15 yards, and I want to know how many feet that's going to be. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to write what I have, which is 15 yards. And I'm going to write it over 1. Now I'm going to multiply that 15 yards by my Magic 1. Now, you need to think now what you know about yards and what you know about feet. How many feet are in 1 yard? So you got to be thinking about that. So this is about how much a foot is. This is about how much a yard is. So I want to know how many of these are going to fit into here. And it actually is, anyone? 3. So I know that there are 3 feet in a yard. Yards is in the numerator. So when I write yards in the magic 1, it has to go in the denominator. So I'm going to have 1 yard in the denominator. But I do know that 3 feet are in a yard. Oh, I wrote an E upside down. 3 feet are in a yard. So when I go ahead and I do that, I know that my yards and yards will cancel. And I know that 15 times 3 is 45. I still have feet. And 1 times 1 is 1. And there's no 1 yards left anymore because I canceled them out. So 15 yards is the same as 45 feet. Okay? We need to use common sense when we're doing some converting. Feet are small, so you're going to need more of them in order to equal something that's similar to yards. So when you're doing this and you need more of something, you're going to be multiplying. And that would also indicate that in the numerator would be the number that you're multiplying by. If you're going to a larger unit, you would need less of them for it to be equal to the bigger or to the smaller unit. So you would divide, which means in your magic 1, the number that you're going ahead and the conversion unit that's actually different from 1 is going to be in the denominator. Okay, let's try another. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and use. I have 20. Let's say 26 inches, okay? And I want to take that to feet, all right? So we're talking about using the magic 1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write what I have first on, which happens to be 26. So I have 26 inches, and I'm going to write that over 1. I'm going to multiply it, over 1, sorry. I'm going to multiply it by my magic 1. Okay, and within my magic 1, I need to decide, does the number I'm looking for go on top or the bottom? So how many inches are in a feet? We've talked about this before in the beginning example. How many inches are in a foot? 12. So I need to go ahead and decide, is 12 inches going to go in the numerator or is 12 inches going to go in the denominator of my magic 1? You should be thinking, how do I figure that out? How do I figure out what goes in the numerator? How does it figure out what goes in the denominator? So let's look back at the problem. Inches are in the numerator. So in order for inches to cancel out, it needs to go into the denominator. So I know that 12 inches is going to go down here. And I know that 1 foot is the same. So let's think a little bit also about common sense. If I have 26 inches and I want to do feet, I know a foot is bigger than an inch. So if I need a bigger unit, I need less of them. When I need less of something, I'm going to divide. And if you look, this 12 is in the denominator, which means division. Okay? So let's use what we know about multiplying fractions. The inches are going to cancel out. I now have 26 feet over 12 inches. Okay? Now, oh, that inches is upside down. Here we go. Okay, over 12 inches. All right, oh no, I'm sorry, my inches cancel out, so just over 12. So I have 26 feet over 12. Hey, that's a fraction. We finished the unit on fractions when we took the unit test on unit 1. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify that fraction. 12 goes into 26 2 times with 2 6 left over. And I don't like that because it's not in simplest form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change it to 2 1/3 feet. So let's go back and review how we go ahead and we use our magic 1. The first thing we do is we write the units that we have, and as you noticed, it gets written over 1 with the original units. Then I simply list my magic 1. Inside the magic 1 is where my conversion factor is. Conversion factors that you need to know. 12 inches is in a foot, 3 feet are in a yard, 5,280 feet are in a mile. A simple way that I remember that is 5280, 5 tomatoes. Feet are in a mile. 1,760 yards are in a mile. You'll also know 365 days are in a year. Those should be in the foldables that you're going to use at a different station. So those are the conversion units that are going to go inside your magic 1. You have to decide, does the 1 go in the numerator or does the 1 go in the denominator? You have to pay attention to where the units are in your numerator in the first problem you wrote. If inches are in the top, inches are going to be in the bottom for the other. Okay? After you do that, you simplify using, you cancel out using what you learned from the previous unit with fractions, and in this case my units got canceled out. I multiply what's left. 26 times 1 is 26. 1 times 12 is 12. The feet stayed, and then I simplified my fraction to 2 1/3 feet. Okay? We're going to be spending time using the magic 1 today. I believe it actually may even be on your homework tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions or let your teacher know. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.